Nature has endowed the Earth with a natural protective barrier from the harmful ultraviolet radiation of the sun, the ozone layer. The sun is the Earth's source of light and life, but it also emits harmful UV rays. What filters the dangerous radiation from the sun that could practically burn all life on Earth is the ozone layer, a thin, fragile shield around the Earth that efficiently and effectively screens the ultraviolet rays from reaching the Earth's surface. But the very barrier that has protected all of creation has been damaged. In recent years, global attention has been focused on a hole in the sky, the ozone hole. The size 3 times that of the United States of America, the ozone hole is found over the Antarctic. Scientific measurements have established that it is not only getting bigger, but other cases of ozone depletion can be found in other parts of the world. Ozone depletion paved the way to rising levels of harmful solar ultraviolet B or UVB radiation around the globe, threatening life on Earth. The increase in UVB radiation damages crops that may lead to diminishing food supply. It is also harmful to phytoplankton and other marine organisms, the main food source of fish and other creatures in the oceans and lakes. Increased UV radiation endangers man himself. It causes skin cancer, cataract, blindness, and rapid aging, and weakens the human immune system. The ozone hole became public knowledge in 1985 and played a key role in generating awareness and concern over the problem of ozone layer depletion. It is a phenomenon brought about by the rapid depletion of ozone layer. The area with markedly reduced ozone concentration has literally become a hole in the sky. Ozone is a special form of oxygen molecule composed of 3 oxygen atoms, or O3. Ozone molecules are scattered in the upper portion of the atmosphere, 20 to 40 kilometers above the ground. Even within the layer, ozone is present in small quantities with a concentration of only 3 ozone molecules for every 10 million air molecules. Ozone is created and destroyed. Violet rays strike oxygen molecules, causing them to split into 2 free oxygen atoms. In turn, the oxygen atoms collide with oxygen molecules to form ozone molecules. This cycle of ozone production has helped maintain the ozone layer throughout the ages. Ozone is an unstable molecule, and high-energy radiation not only creates it, but also breaks it down. UV rays that strike an ozone molecule release 1 oxygen molecule and 1 oxygen atom. For ages, this dynamic cycle has been kept in balance, thus nurturing nature and life. But widespread industrialization over the past century has endangered this continuing cycle. Chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, and bromine chemicals released to the atmosphere set off complex chain reactions that lead to the destruction of ozone molecules. CFC, an odorless, non-flammable, non-corrosive, and non-toxic gas, is commonly used in homes and industries. It rises into the upper atmosphere when released. In the ozone layer, UV radiation striking CFC molecules causes chlorine atoms to break away and collide with ozone molecules. The chlorine atoms react with ozone to form chlorine monoxide, stealing 1 oxygen atom and releasing an oxygen molecule. When free oxygen atoms collide with the chlorine monoxide, chlorine is further released as the 2 oxygen atoms combine to form an oxygen molecule. The process thus sets into motion a continuing cycle that results in the destruction of more ozone. 1 chlorine atom can destroy up to 100,000 ozone molecules. As the ozone layer is depleted and becomes thinner, more UVB rays penetrate the atmosphere and reach the Earth's surface, putting all life on Earth at risk. Industrialization has led to a more modern, comfortable life for man. Unfortunately, some of the very chemicals that bring convenience and comfort to our everyday lives are depleting the ozone layer. Collectively, they're called ODS, or ozone-depleting substances. ODS are man-made compounds containing chlorine and bromine, particularly CFC, halogens, and methyl bromide. CFC accounts for 90% of total ODS consumption in the country because of its widespread applications in homes, industries, and the servicing sector. They are used as cooling agents in refrigerators, freezers, and air conditioners, as propellants in spray cans, aerosols, and metered dose inhalers, solvents in computer and electronic circuits, blowing agents for making foam and other industrial applications. Halon, on the other hand, is a chemical used in fire extinguishers. Methyl bromide is used as a fumigant for agriculture and for food products. Because of the accelerated production and consumption of ODS, ozone molecules are being destroyed faster than they can be formed. With the continued depletion of the ozone layer, every living thing is at risk. Man himself holds the key to stopping the destruction of the ozone layer. On September 16, 1987, 24 countries signed a landmark agreement known as the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. It called for the phase-out of the production and use of ozone-depleting substances among signatory countries, with reasonable targets for reduction of production levels beginning 1986 towards a total phase-out. Amendments to the protocol expanded the monitoring and control of other ODS not originally covered by the Montreal Agreement. The signatories of the protocol have since expanded to 186 countries, making it truly one of the great collective international achievements of the century. The Philippines became a signatory to the Montreal Protocol on September 14, 1988. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, as coordinator for the implementation of the protocol, organized the Montreal Protocol Secretariat in 1992 that drew up policies and administrative measures for the control and phase-out of ozone-depleting substances in the country. Spurred by the government's commitment, with support from international agencies, the country response was put in force. Republic Act 6969, or the Toxic Substances and Hazardous and Nuclear Wastes Control Act of 1990, provided the legal framework for the monitoring and regulation of ODS that is the cornerstone in saving the ozone layer. The DENR, through the Montreal Protocol Secretariat, now the Philippine Ozone Desk, or POD, promulgated the Philippine Program for Ozone Depletion that laid out the plans, programs, and activities of the ODS phase-out schedule in accordance with the Montreal Protocol. A technical working group composed of various government agencies with the DENR as coordinator was created to encourage consultation and to provide consensus and partnerships in achieving the ODS phase-out program targets and objectives. Working with other agencies of the government, the POD pursues a sustained, multipartite response to the ozone problem to prepare a broad program for the regulation of ODS in the country. It has also initiated information and advocacy programs to broaden public awareness of the ozone layer problem and of the urgent need to save it. As a program implementing arm, POD specifically monitors the following industrial sectors: refrigeration, fire extinguishers, solvent, mobile air conditioners, foam blowing, aerosol manufacturing, and fumigation. As part of its monitoring and regulatory function, it has been charged with the issuance of clearances for all ODS importations. In 1996, the Philippine Ozone Desk initiated the program for the adoption by the manufacturing sector of ozone-friendly technology. With the country's limited financial resources, it availed of the Montreal Protocol's Multilateral Fund, the financial mechanism of the Montreal Protocol designed to assist developing countries in this transition process. The fund provided financial and technical assistance for the acquisition and installation of equipment using ozone-friendly technologies, as well as for training, demonstration, and awareness-raising projects. Behind this initiative, companies took an active role in helping save the ozone layer. Fortune Tobacco Corporation is one such company. The country's leading local cigarette manufacturer, Fortune, invested a total of $18 million to replace its tobacco expansion and treatment facility from equipment using Freon to that of using carbon dioxide or CO2.
Fortune Tobacco Corporation, being one of the industry players, has a social obligation to make to the community and to the country in particular, and for the protection of the environment in general. For this, Fortune Tobacco Corporation has invested huge amount of money, time, and resources to be able to comply with the protocol regulations under the United Nations Environment Program. We are committed to save the ozone layer.
Sanyo Manufacturing, one of the largest refrigeration and air conditioner manufacturers in the country, meanwhile, has shifted its production process from ODS, such as Freon, as refrigerant and as foam blowing agent, to ozone-friendly substances.
We decided to convert to ozone-friendly chemicals because we were informed that all chemicals will be phased out, the R11 and the R12. So by conversion, we can now continue our production of refrigerators.
Excelta is one of the country's largest producers of fire extinguishers. It has converted to carbon dioxide-based production and has commissioned a halon recovery and recycling plant. Representing 46 industries, private corporations have availed of grants from the Multilateral Fund, which enable the implementation of 35 investment phase-out projects in the Philippines, with financial assistance from the Multilateral Fund reaching to $28 million. Overall, the phase-out projects have successfully eliminated more than 1,300 metric tons of ozone-depleting substances since the program's inception. Private companies, with direction and support from the government, have committed themselves in sharing both the benefits and responsibilities of the program. This shows that with cooperation and working together, much can be achieved. These major initiatives have enabled the Philippines to essentially comply with the schedule of the Montreal Protocol. The total importation and consumption of ODS has steadily declined since 1992. Serious efforts have led to the total phase-out of methyl chloroform by 1997 and CFC 113, 114, and 115 and Halon 1301 by 1999. Importation of equipment utilizing CFC 11 and 12, principally for air conditioning and refrigeration equipment applications, has likewise been prohibited as of 1998. Total CFC phase-out is targeted by the year 2010. As a result of these actions, the country received an Outstanding National Ozone Unit Award for the implementation of the Montreal Protocol during the 9th meeting of the parties of the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. In 1997, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the United Nations Development Program, and participating industries were likewise accorded the Ozone Award from the United States Environmental Protection Agency for leadership in the phase-out of ODS in the solvent sector. And in 2003, the DENR EMB Philippine Ozone Desk received the Kabalikat Award from the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority in recognition of its role in the promotion of technical and vocational education and the enhancement of the country's manpower resources in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector. Likewise, the Philippine Association of Refrigerant Importers awarded it a plaque of appreciation in line with its contribution in preventing the illegal trade of ODS. Despite these accomplishments, ozone protection work is far from over. In accordance with Republic Act 6969, Chemical Control Order was issued by the DENR promulgating measures for regulating the importation, storage, possession, and sale of ODS in the country. Institutional linkages with regulatory agencies, notably the Department of Trade and Industry and the Department of Finance, Bureau of Customs, have been strengthened to restrict the entry of banned ODS and to monitor ODS importation. Customs officers were trained to detect illegal ODS imports with technical assistance from the United Nations Environment Program. A licensing system has been put in place which allows only accredited importers to bring in ODS into the country, with periodic reporting and monitoring to ensure compliance with import control limits. In March 2003, the National CFC Phase-Out Plan, or NCPP, put into motion the National Strategy and Regulatory and Advocacy Measures to comply with the orderly reduction and eventual phase-out of CFCs by 2010. With funding support from the Multilateral Fund implemented through World Bank and the Government of Sweden, the DNR established the NCPP Project Management Unit, or PMU, to monitor and coordinate the implementation of the NCPP. PMU is working with various partner agencies to phase out CFC. The Land Transportation Office of the Department of Transportation and Communications is monitoring the use of CFC in air conditioning units of motor vehicles, which accounts for 49% of CFC usage in the country. TESDA is assisting in the training and certification of technicians in the service sector, as well as partner institutions like the LTO. The Department of Trade and Industry is involved in the accreditation and reclassification of air conditioning and refrigeration service shops. It is also engaged in the development of Philippine national standards that incorporate NCPP requirements. Bureau of Food and Drugs is working on the phase-out of CFCs in metered dose inhalers. PMU set up a system for the distribution of equipment to service shops. PMU, together with a technical working group, also developed a code of practice for environment-friendly servicing. Recently, the Executive Committee of the Multilateral Fund also approved the phase-out of methyl bromide to be implemented by the World Bank. The DENR thus forged an agreement with the Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority of the Department of Agriculture. Studies for fumigation alternatives are in the pipeline to expedite the eventual phase-out in methyl bromide consumption in the country. Certainly, the task of saving the ozone layer is a broad, systematic program requiring everyone's support. Everyone has a responsibility to make the Philippine Country Program work. The general public, who are all consumers of products and services, can contribute a great deal by buying only ozone-friendly products and patronizing establishments that use them. The employee, the housewife, businessman, children, everyone can contribute. Here is how you can help save the ozone layer. Run your car and home air conditioners for at least 10 minutes a week throughout the year to prevent seals from drying out and leaking the CFCs. Purchase CFC-free refrigerators and air conditioners. Do not use ODS for cleaning purposes. Patronize dry cleaners, camera and watch repair centers, and electronic appliance service establishments that do not use ODS solvents. Replace halon fire extinguishers with those that do not contain ODS. Surrender your yellow halon 1211 fire extinguishers to the Halon Recovery Bank. Do not use foam mattresses and underlays with soft foam that may contain CFCs. Use firmer and denser foams. They are more durable and last longer. And in shopping, always look for products labeled CFC-free or ozone-friendly. Every action, no matter how small, counts in the national and global effort to save the ozone layer from depletion. Once ozone-depleting substances are removed from the atmosphere, the ozone layer will repair itself and thrive. And the environment will again continue to regenerate and give life, sustain creation for generations to come.